Sky Sports have brainwashed football fans, well, more specifically, English football fans. In the last 33 years, Sky Sports have been the epicentre of Premier League football on TV. And in the last decade, they have really hyped up this whole idea of the top four race. You may be thinking where this idea of the top four race has come from. Well, back in 2012, Arsene Wenger said in an interview that a Champions League sport is pretty much a trophy. This was after his 7th season without silverware. Now, football fans have, latched onto this quote, well, more specifically, Arsenal fans have latched onto this quote as they were physically attracted to Arsene Wenger. They were physically attached to Arsene Wenger like an STD is on Bonnie Blue. Now, since Sky Sports have gained more viewership as they've been hyping up finishing in the top four, like they're hyping it up like it should be paraded. Like, in true perspective, you've essentially lost. Okay, so there are now teams in the Premier League which would rather finish in the Champions League spot than win a trophy, which I completely think is embarrassing, to be honest. If you go back in history, no one will remember what positions teams finished on, as long as they've won a trophy. For example, Palace finished 12th this season. They fucking won the FA Cup. No one will remember that they finished 12th. All they'll remember that they won the FA Cup. For example, Maresca put all of his eggs in one basket during a Premier League game against Brighton earlier on, I think February, March time. He would rather win a pointless Premier League game. I say pointless. Chelsea fans are going to think it was we lost actually that game. I was going to say it's probably a better option, but we actually lost that game. He put all his eggs in the Premier League game, fielded all of his best players, and then the following week in the FA Cup, he didn't. He fielded like our Conference League side against them. I don't understand why you'd throw a chance to win a trophy away then not winning the Premier League, because essentially you've lost if you haven't won the Premier League. Because if you're going to go and finish in the top four, you're going to be in a competition that you're not going to win. I don't understand why Chelsea fans think it's going to be a good season if we finish in the top four. For example, I've seen a poll on Twitter, right, that it was very, very one-sided with would you rather win the Conference League or top four. Top four won by a big, big margin. I don't understand why you think us being in the Champions League next year is a fucking good idea. We've lost in the Conference League this year. What makes you think we're going to win in the Champions League? Have you not seen our squad? Have you not seen our manager? Yes, we won the Champions League with under Tuchel. That's because we had a better manager. That's because we had a better squad. I don't understand why people think, oh, we're going to do really well. We're going to get fucking embarrassed by Real Madrid, Barcelona, fucking Inter Milan or whoever's PSG. We're going to get embarrassed by them in the Champions League next year. I don't understand why people think, oh yeah, you know what, let's be in the Champions League. Or it's going to attract better players. That is an absolute myth, by the way, that Champions League gets you better players. Chelsea signed Kante, De Luiz without Champions League. Man United signed Ibrahimovic, Pogba, Anthony, Martinez without Champions League. Liverpool signed Luis Suarez without Champions League, and look, see. Suarez is probably one of the best strikers that this generation has seen in the Premier League. That is an absolute myth that being in the Champions League signs you better players. That's a complete myth. It's just a day out midweek. That's all it is, and extra money for the owners. That's why the owners would rather fucking win the Champions League than win the Cup, because you get more money for being in the Champions League, and that's why they care about the money. They don't give a fuck about the history of the fucking clubs. For example, when Chelsea won the FA Cup in the Champions League back in 2012, do you know what position we finished? Well, I did, because I had to do my research for it, because I don't fucking remember. We finished 6th. But no one will remember that. All they will remember is that we won the Champions League and the FA Cup. In the 1992-93 season, Arsenal won the Cup double, so the League Cup and the FA Cup, under George Graham. Do you know where they finished? Because I didn't until I had to Google it. They finished 10th. But would they give a fuck? No, because they won the best cup competitions you could win in the Premier League. They won the FA Cup. What I also don't understand is with the League Cup is the first cup competition you can win in the Premier League. So that sets the precedent for where you can finish off in the Premier League. Because if you win that Carabao Cup, League Cup, whatever it's called now, in February, then that's going to strive you to try and win more, because you're going to want to up that. Because yes, I understand the Carabao Cup is the least of the domestic cups that you can win, but it's still a fucking trophy. It's still a doubt at Wembley. No one will remember the position you finished unless you don't win a trophy. Like I've just mentioned with Chelsea finishing 6th and Arsenal finishing 10th in the league. No one will remember that. All they will remember is the success that club brings that year. Because in the history books, in the honours or in the club history or whatever, in like the whatever in the museum or whatever, it's not going to have it written down finished 4th in that Premier League season. It's going to have FA Cup winner, Premier League winner, Champions League winner, League Cup winner. It's going to have the trophy that you won that year. It's not going to have the where you fucking position, because who gives a fuck? Okay, so if I was to ask you what the aim of elite sport is. The aim of elite sport is to win. For example, in the future, if you were talking to your kid, say you're an Arsenal fan. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, you're catching strays in this video, but it's a very good conversation to have and a very good example. If you had a kid in the future, right, and you were outside the Emirates, and your kid asked, why there's a statue of Mikel Arteta? You'd say, I don't know, the fan base fancy him. They want to have his babies, which is fucking mental.
But we've got Super Mikel Arteta. Tell me, how do I have his babies?
Well, you could say to him, well, he finished 2nd 3 years in a row and went trophyless for 5 years. That's what we can say. You know what, little Jimmy, 3 years he got 2nd place. He lost, didn't win us a trophy for 5 years. And the kid would be like, so he's failed, Dad. Why has he got a statue for losing? Why is Arsenal promoting failure? That's what you could ask him. I mean, there's a conversation that could happen. All of the successes that these clubs have are based on trophies, not the league position. This is what I don't get my head around with modern day football fans. It baffles the life out of me. It's all started from Sky Sports brainwashing everyone, because no one remembers the losers. If Chelsea don't beat Betis in the Conference League final on Wednesday, Spurs would have had a better season than us. Palace would have had a better season than us. Depending on where Man City finish and where Spurs finish, Spurs would have had a better season than Man City, because they've won that trophy. They've won a European trophy. I mean, they've won 2 Europa Leagues in the past, I think 82 and 70 something. But no one will remember the fact you finished 4th. Because if we finish 4th and don't win the Conference League next year, we could go out in the group stage in the Champions League next season. We could fail at the first hurdle. Because we're not going to... We probably will sign better players, but we'll sign better players no matter what if we finish in the Europa League or if we do finish in the Champions League, or if we don't finish in Europe at all. Like I've given the examples, Kante joined Chelsea without Champions League. Ibra and Pogba went to Man United without Champions League. Luis Suarez went to Liverpool without Champions League. I'm naming elite players that have played for elite clubs, and they've signed without Champions League. We've signed shit players with Champions League. So the difference is absolutely bizarre. But anyway, that's this video done for today. I say today like I've uploaded in the last 5 days or whatever. Sorry for slacking. I just wanted to get this video off my chest because it's just pissed me off. Genuinely, it's actually very infuriated me how football fans are like this nowadays. Sky Sports are a massive problem with modern football fans nowadays, and yeah, it's quite sad and embarrassing to see, really, where some club standards have failed and fallen drastically. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, like this video. If you didn't, then leave a comment. Just leave your opinion, really. I couldn't really give a monkeys what you really have to say, because it's just words on the screen. It's my opinion, whether it's right or wrong. But, well, to be fair, it's right because the main of elite sport is to win. No one remembers the losers. So that is a fact-based metric for elite sport, is to win. So, yeah, if you were disagreeing, then that's completely fine. Yeah, see you in the next one. Peace.